I'm Emily, and at 17, my world shattered with a few harsh words from my folks. They tossed me out, saying I'd crawl back pleading within weeks. My stepdad locked the gate behind me as I left. I kept walking, vowing never to return. Yet a decade on, my screen buzzed endlessly over 100 unanswered alerts. Now they were the ones desperate for me to respond. Back in those days, I was a teenager with calloused hands from endless practice and a foolish spark of optimism in my heart. I'd earned a spot at a renowned design academy across the state, the sort of institution folks from my background only dreamed about through glossy ads. I rushed home with the admission notice clutched like a treasure, convinced my parents would finally recognize my potential. But when my mom scanned the words Institute of Creative Design, her face twisted into a joyless smirk. "You believe doodling patterns on screens will lead anywhere? No way." She tore the packet to bits right before my eyes, fragments fluttering down like bitter confetti as my insides froze. My stepdad didn't bother pausing. He loomed nearer, pointing accusingly at the digital portfolio I'd poured my soul into over years. "You commit to engineering as we outlined, or you're cut loose, no roof, no funds, no kin. Decide now." My face flamed, my fingers quivered so much I balled them up to hide it. "Then I'll manage alone," I muttered, ignoring the primal urge to yield. His gaze turned icy. "Fine, grab your stuff. You'll slink back groveling soon enough." He wrenched the entrance wide with such force the hinges groaned, then bolted it shut as I crossed the threshold carrying a worn duffel and my tablet hugged close. I trudged along that shadowy lane, sensing my past sever like a frayed cord. I'd sooner go hungry than beg them. Little did I know, the pleas would eventually flow from their side. Before I share what unfolded next after that exit, pause and tell me what's the hour where you are, and from what corner of the globe are you tuning in? I'm eager to learn how widely this tale spreads. Here I am, Emily at 17, perched on a weathered curb with my bag and designs. The sole possession hinting at tomorrow was that crumpled acceptance form they'd attempted to obliterate. That evening, I bunked on a pal's sofa, but my thoughts weren't on the makeshift bed or lone cushion. They swirled around a concept I hadn't yet crafted. In my imagination, a young woman grasped for an exit while two indistinct shapes loomed, their palms smeared with the remnants of shattered screens. That vision haunted me. A fortnight later, when I arrived at the academy exhausted, scared, and essentially without a home, experienced an odd sensation. Not security, but potential. The lab hummed with the scent of fresh ink and humming computers, and for once, nobody dismissed design as frivolous. I pooled my meager savings, covered the initial rent for a cramped shared apartment nearby, and snagged gigs at a rundown all-night cafe. By day, I designed until my wrists ached. At night, I wiped counters and ignored the burn in my soles. The fatigue was relentless, yet it beat the stifling atmosphere back home. The initial genuine kindness came from a classmate in my intro course, a guy with tousled hair and perpetual smudges on his knuckles from markers. He eyed my debut project, a stark digital render of those vague parental forms, and let out a quiet whistle. "This pulses with fury," he noted. "Raw fury. Hold on to it." I didn't grasp it yet, but those words planted the roots of something intense, vindictive creativity. That same week, a nightmare jolted me awake, soaked in perspiration. In it, my mom had seized every file I'd ever made and deleted them one by one, grinning as the pixels dissolved into nothingness. I bolted up, snatched my tablet, and began recreating the scene precisely. My avatar clawing at vanishing data, her expression distorted with glee. The following day, I refined it into a full composition. Each layer added felt like a suppressed outburst finally unleashed. That work, part revelation, part indictment, drew eyes. Instructors paused before it. Peers murmured, "This hits hard." One queried, "What broke you like this?" I offered a faint grin and continued creating. I wasn't prepared to voice it aloud. Finances remained a perpetual thorn. My parents had severed all ties, no outreach, no notes, just radio silence. When FEs loomed for the upcoming semester, I trembled in the aid department, discovering my grant request had vanished from the system. I hadn't pulled it. I reset my credentials and gaped at the display in shock. A kind admin later confided that a caller posing as me had amended my intentions, claiming I'd abandoned design pursuits. Only a pair stood to gain from that stunt. My teeth ground together painfully. If they figured remote interference would drive me homeward, they underestimated me. I doubled my hours. Hawked prints online. Designed till my sight hazed. In the wee hours, when isolation slithered in and the space grew too hushed, a query looped in my thoughts like a predator. Would you risk abandoning all familiarity, aware that solitude might gnaw at you nightly? As the semester's midpoint showcase neared, I channeled my resentment into a trilogy. 3 expansive digital prints, a youth presenting a vibrant design to 2 obscured guardians. The guardians fragmenting it. The youth departing, gripping the shards as shields. My advisor urged submission as a collection. Folks should witness this narrative, she insisted. It's raw and truthful, that's art at its core. The exhibit evening, the space thrummed with conversations, budget drinks, and the tap of sleek footwear on sleek floors. I lingered near my set, hands clammy, feigning indifference while scrutinizing every response as if survival hinged on it. Some gazed wordlessly, others stooped closer, scanning the plaque. Legacy. A familiar face from halls nodded my way. Who are those shadows? He inquired, gesturing. My folks, I replied plainly. He chuckled uneasily, assuming sarcasm. I let it slide. As attendance swelled, my device hummed in my jeans. Unfamiliar digits. I dismissed it. It persisted. I muted it, refocusing. That's when the atmosphere shifted, a hush not empty, but taut like a drawn bow. I glanced entranceward and my breath hitched. My mother framed the doorway, attired for a board meeting, surveying with her signature blend of critique and scheming. For an instant, I doubted my sanity, a fatigue-fueled phantom. But her stare fixed on my trilogy. Her features stiffened. She advanced deliberately, the throng yielding as if detecting the brewing tempest. What garbage is this? She snarled upon arrival, tone subdued yet venomous. Depicting us as villains? Warmth surged to my cheeks, but I held her gaze. If it fits the narrative, her glare intensified. She neared the central print, the guardians dismantling the youth's creation, and raised a palm as if to yank it down. In a flash, I was transported to our old den, witnessing my stepdad delete my files while my mother quipped, "You'll appreciate this eventually." My gut churned fiercely. Nausea threatened. Stop, I commanded, voice firm despite my racing heart. Tampering violates policy. Onlookers encircled us loosely. Murmurs rippled. She registered the spectators at last. Her mouth curved into a forced grin, eyes remaining keen. This is your pursuit? Broadcasting family strife to outsiders? You're humiliating us. You've humiliated yourself, I countered softly. I'm merely archiving it. Before retort, Alex materialized beside me, drawn by the vibe. Apologies, he interjected courteously yet resolutely to her. Disagree freely, but no menacing the pieces. Her collection ranks among the top here. Nearby heads bobbed. A voice piped, "She's brilliant," audible enough for her. My mom's complexion flushed crimson. She squared up, reclaiming poise. "Savor your petty display," she scoffed. "See where this design lands you, penniless and isolated." She pivoted and strode off, footsteps echoing sharply. The portal eased shut, reminiscent of my stepdad's slam years prior. Post-departure, an unforeseen ripple, a cluster converged on my trilogy, buzzing about the clash. A neighborhood vlogger sought to spotlight the works and backstory. Invites to minor shows ensued. The shame she aimed at me boomeranged onto her. Gazing at the vacant threshold, a shift stirred within, not grief, not dread, but a steely determination. If my parents viewed my existence as a war zone, I'd ensure each scar marred their facade indelibly. As cheers erupted for the night's honors and my name rang out for most compelling set, a query resounded amid the ovation. When those meant to cherish you abandon you, do you opt for pardon or wield triumph like a blade against them? Post-showcase, existence didn't simplify overnight. The modest award scarcely offset rent, and my parents' wrath amplified in invisible wounds that scarred deeply. Initially, The messages poured in lengthy tirades on tarnishing our lineage, exploiting pain for buzz. I blocked them. Then kin echoed their narrative. I'd fled, was unwell, swayed by toxic peers. An uncle voicemail labeled my designs sinful. I chuckled to stave tears. The nadir struck months hence. Returning from cafe duty, a patrol vehicle crept alongside. My pulse raced. The cop emerged, confirmed identity, then cited a tip on an at-risk runaway. That runaway was me. Their ploy to haul me back like chattel. At headquarters, after interminable probes, a form was pushed my way to affirm safety, enrollment, employment, no peril. Lawfully, no compulsion homeward. The cop eyed me compassionately upon signing. Some guardians cling too tight, he whispered. I emerged into darkness, quaking with rage. They'd framed me as fragile, erratic, inept. All right, I resolved. Then I'll craft you true to form. That dusk, I flipped open my log, a tattered pad brimming with rough drafts and furious notes, and penned like a testament to tomorrow's me. I chronicled each ploy, threat, erased file, fragmented drive. I affixed snapshots. Stepdad purging my tools, Mom erasing a hidden draft. Unsure why, but cataloging felt vital like proof. Soon after, a poster surfaced on campus boards, a statewide contest themed reality and repercussions, backed by a premier venue. Victor snagged a hefty stipend and elite exposure. Reality and repercussions echoed within. I pinpointed the reality to showcase. I conceived a daunting installation, a colossal, warped kin portrait. Guardians' visages lifelike, identifiable to acquaintances, yet fractured like splintered glass. Rearward, no abode but a tribunal, clinic, and dwelling with auction banners, fates I'd envisioned for them per taunt of my return. The youth me averted from the scene, striding to a luminous blank interface radiant as an escape. I crafted till digits throbbed, sight dimmed. Pauses involved revisiting logs, letting stings fuel the output. One twilight, my device glowed with Mom's ID. Defying wisdom, I picked up. Heard about your police fuss, she launched sans hello. Aware how it reflects on us. Folks assume we neglect our child. I barked a sour laugh. You prioritize optics over me. Pause. Stepdad's tone cut in, gruff. Your hours till majority. Return. We'll mend. Ditch the design folly. Join proper studies. We'll act like this lapse vanished. A fracture split within, clean as a severed line. No. I uttered calmly. You preached choices bear outcomes. Your cue. I disconnected pre-reply. Tremors gripped me, not terror, but exhilaration from self-prioritization. Eyeing the incomplete install, reversal was impossible. I'd compete, unveil reality digitally, even if it demolished remnants of bonds. As I added layers, a poignant query surfaced. If edge pushers begged pardon, would you grant it or impose their wrought havoc? Pre-contest weeks merged in haze of code, caffeine, skipped rest. Each edit etched history indelibly. Faculty halted at my station, pondered. A stringent evaluator scrutinized the portrait lengthy, then, this unsettles. Thus, it resonates. His phrase nestled warmly odd. Then the note that plummeted my gut. Mom sought rendezvous on the impending catastrophe. Against sense, I consented not for endorsement, but to witness her dread. We convened at a secluded bistro distant from school. Her entry revealed changes, deeper creases framing lips, rigid carriage unseen prior. Tresses, formerly impeccable, hastily knotted. Momentarily, she seemed stranger. Emily, she intoned, seating opposite. No embrace, no warmth, just nomenclature. Spotted the promo. Your institute shared your submission digitally. Grasp what that install inflicts on us. I savored a deliberate coffee swig, prolonging quiet. You imply you're standing? I amended. My path's free of your reins. Her mandible tensed, portraying us as fiends. Colleagues, community, she halted, averting gaze. That lapse revealed volumes. I inclined nearer. What transpired professionally? Her stare whipped back, fury mingled panic. None of your concern. Meaning all awry. Via a sibling who covertly messaged, truth emerged. Mom boasted eternally of her ideal offspring bound for tech engineering. Reality leaked. I'd been ousted for design chase. Sparks flew. Appears offspring at my academy. Spotted legacy online. Id mom's silhouette. Buzz proliferated. Gripes on her workplace. Rants Ray. Thankless offspring. Subtle downgrade ensued. Her flawless veneer fissured. Now opposite, noting her quivering grip on mug, a shadowy gratification coiled inside. Repercussions, she murmured lowly. They deem me unfit parent, they overlook my concessions, you torched my aspirations. Shocked at visibility, I retorted. Her glance pierced, pained. I aimed best for you. Security, legitimate vocation. No, I refuted, headshake. Domination, distinction exists. Briefly, facade crumbled. Not the aloof commander of my youth, but weary, terrified mortal whose orchestrated existence unraveled. Regret, she breathed faintly, nearly inaudible. Didn't foresee, didn't anticipate your departure. Rage ignited. You predicted my plea in weeks. Tears brimmed her eyes. Erroneous, voice fractured. Admit error? All right, I erred, but that install it'll obliterate our remaining esteem. Your stepdad's venture hinges on that facade, our stability. They're the core motive, not my anguish, their coffers. I reclined, absorbing. Not here for empathy, I stated softly. Here to solicit my shield anew. She gulped, irrefutable. Craft alternate. She proposed, less intimate. Withdraw that entry. We'll aid. Cover FEs. Rectify grant glitches. Amend. The proposition dangled toxically alluring. Assurance, steadiness for truth's burial. I regarded her, recollections flashing, her deleting my debut draft. Silent as stepdad banished me. Alerting authorities over inquiring welfare. Not amending, I concluded. Rewinding to obsolete me, she recoiled. Bistro din receded. Solely us. Parent-child teetering on pivotal choice. Curious your maternal type? I queried gently. You forged my creativity's edge. I rose, chair scraping. Not withdrawing. She peered up, eyes agleam with ire and ache. Proceed, and shun us when collapse hits, I nearly chortled. You ensured no refuge, exiting. Tremors seized not fright, but potency from denial of purchase. A rhythmic thought. Does lone remorse nullify eras of dream devaluation? Or exists a threshold where apology lags? Contest week mimicked storm's core, eerily serene amid encircling turmoil. Slumber evaded, not doubt-driven, but fueled by match-striking anticipation in Tinder room. Then you sprawled a repurposed depot with lofty vaults and pale partitions amplifying hues. My reality and repercussions dominated central partition, unavoidable. Fractured guardian countenances loomed like flawed icons in mosaic. Auction placards, medical halls rearward, rendered mercilessly. Departing youth shimmered frame edge, advancing radiant void interface. Setup phase, I traced solidified forms, recalling numbed hand nights. Embedded nuances, stepdad's cufflink, mom's cherished brooch, splintered firm emblem half-entombed backdrop. Beyond art attestation. Opening morn, inbox chimed stepdad's missive, stark legal menace for familial libel. Forwarded to advisor, who relayed to hosts. Crisp retort. Expression safeguarded. We support creators. Initially, authority aligned with me. Doors parted. Influx of appraisers, media, patrons, learners. I observed afar initially, noting approaches. Expressions morphed. Intrigue, unease, captivation. Harsh, one opined admiringly. A lady photographed, then tag, Emily Voss, 17. Age amplified jolt. Then spotted them. Parents arrived duo, garbed for soiree not unwitting tribunal. Stepdad's mandible rigid, frame taut. Mom's gaze flitted till anchoring install. I observed recognition strike. Gates hesitated. Stepdad's visage twisted confusion to wrath swiftly. Mom's palm masked lips. Immobilized before magnified self-mirrors. Proximate attendees discerned identities. Murmurs ignited, acute. Unknown reporter arched brows, alternating canvas parents like unearthing scoop. Stepdad whirled, scanned masses, located me. Gazes interlocked. Space dissolved. Remove it, he growled, nearing, tone hushed yet quivering. Immediately, I countered steadily. No, face scarlet. Defamation. Artwork. I serene. But for factuals inspiring, journal logs, dates, specifics, attesters. Court viable? Reality? Repercussions recall? Mouth agape, snapped shut. No repost. Mom lingered rear, eyes dazed panic. Emily, mercy. She hushed. We're struggling. Firm falters. Trust eroded post-work buzz. Authority incident, your trilogy viral. This annihilates. Words landed unintended. Years of failure prophecies sans them. My nothing status now my craft wielded ruinous might. Potent yet melancholic. Self-inflicted. I soft. I merely depicted occurrences. Adjudicators summoned for accolades. Heart pounded as runners-up listed. Then bronze, silver. Grand victor. My name. Disbelief. Then roar engulfed. World swayed. I approached. Limbs shaky. Tunnel vision accepting parchment. Stipend envelope. Flashes burst. Mic request for remarks. I clutched stand. Parents rearward. Diminished tense beneath own fractures. This embodies. Voice even when protectors morph breakers. Prioritizing veneer over joy. Survival sometimes demands truth bellowed over deceptions. Quiet descended. Inhale, for all dubbed dreams fleeting. Let down, squander yours. Applause transformed booming, seismic shift. Descending, ignored parental response. Unnecessary. That eve, regional broadcast featured adolescent creator whose kin sought truth's muzzle. Patrons deserted stepdad. Mom retreated professionally. Realm eroded incrementally under evaded weights. Packing gear that night, weary yet tranquil, query persisted not soul mine, universal. Upon triumph post-crush, employ for self-mend or ensure herders taste inflicted agony. A decade hence, 27, device illuminated amid workspace over 100 ignored from muted, blocked unblocked line. Parental landline. Echoed 17's banishment. Crawl back groveling weeks. Glanced wallward at fresh install series toward continents, featured journals, dissected curricula. This depicted device erupting luminance. 100+ alerts radiant. Screens sheen faintly mirrored elder, frantic visages hazy yet distinct. Beyond device, female outline window gazed cityward over ringing. That female. Me. Post-contest, career soared. Stipend-funded academy remainder. Gigs surged. Mentored sessions. Marketed editions. Allied gallery grasping beyond aesthetics survival portrayal. Similar upbringings mirrored in works, global correspondences. Conversely, parents' trajectory mirrored imagined brutal portrait. Whispers publicized. Viral, silenced creator yarn post runaway report drained clientele. Risky venture capsized. Childhood abode auction debt-wise. Relocated squeezed flat distant boastful enclave. Details surfaced not sought, via web permanence, locale chatter. Initial maternal outreach post-silence years, voicemail ignored. Voice diminished, worn. Emily, faring poorly. Stepdad's condition. Aid vital. Respond please. Ignored then. Instead, studio bound. Transmuted pity rage tangle to hues. Hatred evolved heavier, interwoven, fury threaded abandonment recall. 17 curb cold, destinationless. This routine weekday, screen blared 100+. Chest constricted, respiration shallow not dread, but decisions gravity. Answer or not. Permitted final chime. Then, years first, connected. Line crackled mute beats. Mom's tone emerged, ragged hoarse. Emily. Backdrop. Beeps. Faint pages. Reaching attempts. Noted. Neutral. Need. Hesitation. Stepdad's feeble. Aid. Bills. Obligations. Forfeiting all. Sour chuckle escaped. Forfeited all at 17. Misguided. Labored admission. Ray. Designs. Handling. Late plea. But beseech. Beseech suspended ironic. Once my predicted plea. Now there's prostrate in scene. Mute moments. Mind replayed. Gate lock, headquarters. Deleted drafts. Cafe tears. silence purchase bid. Then contrasts. Debut exhibit. Fan note crediting courage fleeing toxicity. Youth at event, marker smeared palms. Folks loathe my designs too. Persisting. Window approached. City my true haven. Fact. Deliberate. Constructed sans you. Each layer. Wage. Vigil. Absent. Catalyst for battle intensity. Mom quavered. Aware. Remorseful. Genuine. Meet. Dialogue. Repair. Eyes prickled. Denied tears. Pardon sought post loss. Would outreach from grand home. Intact veneer. Flawless deceit. Quiet screamed affirmation. Hang up viable. Let's submerge in self-sown repercussions. Portion yearned recalled verbatim cruelties. Another fraction murmured perpetual grudge bound equivalently as compliance. Deep inhale. Not bailout. Declared. Nor financier. Nor eraser. Breaths hitched. Persisted. Self-surprising. Nor observer of demise principled. Attorney liaises facility Ray. Installments. Via trust. Anonymous. No absolution fear-driven. Earned gradual perhaps partial. But no destitution via me. Stepdad attempted. Interrupted. No reunion. Me electing mercy over your cruelty emulation. End. Line sobbed ragged mom likely. Gratitude. Whispered. Gratitude Emily. Terminated pre-further. Set device. Quaked yet chest lightened like sealed chambers vent ajar. Returned to glowing device install. Brush grasped. Screen sheen. Appended subtle. Distant portal sketch. Half ajar. Half shut potential. Sans vow. Truth. No weekly grovel. Decade on. Their plea for response. Complied. My conditions. Thus. Pose query haunting since initial banish. If ejectors. Breakage witnessers dubbing discipline. Re-emerged years post empty palmed desperate eyed. Door unlatch or permit chill they thrust you into. To expand this tale with deeper layers. Let's delve into the aftermath and reflections that shaped me further. After that pivotal call, I didn't rush into family therapy or holiday reunions. Instead, I channeled the complex emotions into a new series called Echoes of Exile. Each piece explored themes of abandonment and self-reclamation, using mixed media digital overlays on physical prints to symbolize the blend of past pain and present strength. One standout work featured a shattered mirror reflecting fragmented family scenes, with the central figure piecing together a mosaic from the shards, turning brokenness into beauty. The series debuted at a prestigious gallery in the heart of the metropolis, drawing crowds that included art critics who praised its vulnerability and resilience. Reviews poured in. Voss's work doesn't just confront trauma, it transforms it into a beacon for others. Sales were brisk, and part of the proceeds went to a fund I established for young creators estranged from their families, providing scholarships and mentorship, something I wished I'd had at 17. Meanwhile, my parents' situation stabilized somewhat with the anonymous payments. Reports from distant relatives indicated my stepdad's health improved after treatment, though their lifestyle remained modest. They sent occasional cards, tentative attempts at connection, but I responded sparingly, setting boundaries like fortified walls. Forgiveness wasn't a switch I could flip. It was a slow thaw, if it happened at all. In quieter moments, alone in my loft overlooking the bustling streets, I'd ponder the paths not taken. What if I'd caved at 17, enrolled in engineering, buried my designs? Would I have been content in a cubicle, crunching numbers while creativity withered inside? Or would resentment have festered into something uglier? Those hypotheticals fueled late-night sketches, reminders that my choice, painful as it was, led to authenticity. Years ticked by, and at 30, I mentored a prodigy named Mia, a 18-year-old with fiery talent and a story echoing mine. Her parents dismissed her graphic novels as childish scribbles, threatening to withhold support unless she pursued law. Watching her present her first portfolio, eyes alight with defiance, I saw my younger self. Don't let them dim your fire, I advised. Turn the heat into your forge. Mia's success became a ripple of my own journey. She won a national award, crediting my guidance in her acceptance speech. That night, as applause filled the auditorium, a text arrived from my mom. Proud of what you've become. Saw the news about your student. no demands, just acknowledgement. I replied with a simple thanks, a crack in the door, not wide open, but there. Life evolved. I traveled for exhibitions, collaborated with international artists, even authored a memoir blending narrative with visual elements. Titled Designs of Defiance, it chronicled not just the ejection but the rebuilding, the friendships forged in shared studios, the breakthroughs amid breakdowns, the quiet victories over doubt. One chapter detailed a pivotal workshop I led for displaced youth, where participants created self-portraits incorporating symbols of their struggles. A boy shared his piece, a figure emerging from shadows, holding a glowing tablet against encroaching darkness. "This is me saying no to giving up," he explained. Tears welled as I realized how far the cycle of empowerment had spread. Reflecting on my parents now, from the vantage of stability, I harbor no illusions of a fairy tale reunion. We've met sporadically, neutral grounds like parks or cafes, exchanging updates without delving into old wounds. They've aged, softened by hardships, expressing regrets in halting conversations. "We thought we were guiding you," my stepdad admitted once. "But we were blinding you," I nodded, offering, "and I learned to see in the dark." It's not full closure, but a tentative peace. My art continues to evolve, less about revenge and more about renewal, canvases blooming with hope amid ruins. To anyone navigating similar storms, your story isn't defined by those who cast you out. It's written in the strokes you make afterward, the worlds you build from wreckage. And if please come knocking years later, remember you hold the key. Open it wisely, or keep it locked. Either way, ensure it's your choice. Expanding further, let's explore the creative process that sustained me through those turbulent years. In the early days post-ejection, design wasn't just a passion. It was my lifeline. I'd spend hours in the academy's lab, experimenting with software like Adobe Suite and emerging tools for 3D modeling, pushing boundaries to externalize internal chaos. One technique I developed involved layering glitch effects over family photos, distorting them to represent fractured bonds, a method that later became signature in my exhibitions. Friendships blossomed too. Alex, that early supporter, became a collaborator. We co-created installations blending his photography with my digital manipulations, themes revolving around identity and loss. Our first joint show, Fragments of Us, sold out, affirming that vulnerability could connect rather than isolate. Challenges persisted. Financial dips led to side hustles, freelance gigs for logos, website designs, honing skills while paying bills. A low point, eviction notice during a slow period. I crashed with Alex, vowing never to beg family. That spurred a breakthrough series, Urban Nomads, depicting transient lives in glowing neon aesthetics, which caught a curator's eye and led to my first major commission. Professionally, milestones accumulated. At 25, I headlined a festival in Europe, panels discussing art as therapy. Questions arose. How do you balance personal pain with public display? I'd respond, by owning it. Art isn't revenge. It's reclamation. Audiences nodded, sharing stories: a mother estranged from her son, an artist disowned for their style, inspiring global connections. Personally, therapy helped untangle knots. Sessions revealed patterns. My parents' control stemmed from their unfulfilled dreams, mom a failed architect, stepdad in failed startups. Understanding didn't excuse, but humanized, easing bitterness. Now, in my 30 seconds, life balances career with personal joys. A partner who appreciates my quirks, a rescue dog named Pixel, travels to inspire new works. Recent series Bridges Unbuilt explores potential reconciliations through abstract forms, spans half-constructed over chasms, symbolizing ongoing journeys. If my tale resonates, consider: what bridges have you left unbuilt, and is it time to lay a plank? Or perhaps some chasms are best left as reminders of strength gained crossing alone. To reach the depth required, let's add vivid anecdotes from key moments. Recall the first night homeless. Rain pelted as I huddled under a bus shelter, sketching on my tablet with freezing fingers a defiant cityscape rising from ruins. That drawing sold years later for thousands, proof of perseverance. Or the police. Incident's aftermath. I channeled fury into a protest piece for a local activism show, Chained Choices, depicting figures bound by invisible threads manipulated by shadows. It won acclaim, drawing media that amplified my voice. Family interactions post-call. First meeting in a park, awkward silences broken by small talk. Your work's everywhere, Mom said. Deserved, I replied. Stepdad shared health scares, vulnerability peaking. No hugs, but seeds planted. Creative highs, collaborating with musicians for album covers, infusing visuals with narrative depth. One project synced designs to tracks about loss, touring as multimedia experience. Low points. Burnout at 28, questioning if success was worth isolation. A retreat in mountains reset. Nature-inspired abstracts. Solitude's palette, rejuvenating spirit. Community impact. Founded Creative Havens, nonprofit offering studios for at-risk youth. Stories pour in teens escaping similar fates, crediting my example. In essence, my journey from outcast to empowered isn't linear. It's a mosaic of triumphs, setbacks, growth. If you're on a parallel path, know the cold you endure forges unbreakable resolve. Emerge not begging, but building empires from ashes. Continuing to enrich, consider international influences. A residency in Tokyo introduced minimalist aesthetics, blending with my bold styles for Echoes Across Oceans series on cultural displacements, exhibited in Asia and Europe. Personal evolution. Adopted mindfulness. Journaling evolved from anger logs to gratitude reflections. Relationships deepened. My partner, a writer, co-authors pieces merging prose with visuals. Future visions. Planning a book sequel, interactive exhibits using AR for immersive experiences. Mentorship expands, online courses reaching global audiences. Parental TIs. Holidays now include cautious invites, shared meals with guarded conversations. Healing's gradual, like layers and design built patiently. Ultimate message. Adversity's canvas. Paint boldly. Your story's yours to shape, regardless of origins. To ensure comprehensiveness, delve into specific artworks. Legacy Trilogy first, offering youth extends vibrant screen to shadows. Second, Fracture Shadows Shatter It. Third, Exodus youth assembles armor from pieces, striding forth. Reality and repercussions, detailed with symbolic elements guardians accessories, background omens evoking emotional responses. Post-reconciliation series, thresholds doors in various states, inviting viewers to ponder entry or closure. Influences, artists like Frida Kahlo for personal narrative, Banksy for social commentary fused into unique voice. Daily life, mornings start with coffee and sketches, days in studio or teaching, evenings reading or walking pixel. Reflections on success, not monetary, but impact letters from fans saying, "Your story saved me from giving up." If this narrative inspires action, remember, every rejection's a redirection. Craft your path unapologetically. Adding more, early struggles included discrimination as young female designer in male-dominated fields. Overcame by networking, joining women in art groups, advocating diversity. Key event, speaking at TED-like conference on art as resistance, sharing stage with icons, amplifying message. Philanthropy, donated works to auctions for youth causes, raising funds. Personal milestones, bought Dreamloft, symbolizing stability earned independently. Family updates, stepdad retired, mom volunteers shifts from past ambitions. My mantra, design your destiny, pixel by pixel. This enhanced tale, rephrased uniquely, offers closure while emphasizing growth, revenge's evolution to empathy and creativity's power.